Okay, so since the launch of Boost My Social, we've been getting a lot of questions around Instagram. So today we wanted to talk to you in more detail about the platform itself and how it works and what it should be used for from a travel agent perspective. People come to Instagram to be inspired and discover things they care about, including content from brands and businesses like yours. This information here on screen is taken directly from Instagram, and I think there are key reasons here why you should, if you don't already have an Instagram account, and why you should be active on it. Over 1 billion people have Instagram now and are active on it. Over 90% of people on Instagram follow a business. 84% of people want to discover new products on Instagram, and 2 in 3 business profile visits are from people that don't actually follow them yet. So as you can see, it's a really powerful tool to make sure that you are active on. Now, Instagram is a place for you to share your business's story. It's a place for you to showcase your products and services, build your community, increase awareness of your brand, showcase your company culture and values, advertise to potential customers, increase brand loyalty, and share company news and updates. There's so much that you can do with Instagram, but you've got to decide on a story that you want to tell and how you want to do it. Once you've established that story and you know kind of what it is that you want out of your Instagram profile, then you need to look at the profile itself and make sure that it's up to scratch. Let's take Aldi as an example here on screen, and we're going to look at the bio. This should represent the story that you want it to tell. It should be a little bit about your business. And as you can see here, it says followers for the best recipes and finds, which is actually different then to what they have on their Facebook profile. So this is where they start to differ and where you can start having a bit more of a story and a theme behind your profile. It'll give you an opportunity to promote other channels like your Facebook page and a website if you have one. It's important that you've got your relevant contact information present, of course, providing people for a way to contact you, whether that's your email address, a phone number, a physical address. And when you do add that, it's Instagram will automatically create a corresponding button for you, like these here. So whether that's to call, to text, to message, or get directions, it'll all relate to your profile. However, you can configure those and edit them simply by clicking on your edit your profile and scrolling down to your actions button section. But what you need to think about next is the theme that you want to have around your Instagram account. And the real importance behind a theme is that you can really think about how it is you want to come across. It's going to define who you are as a business essentially, and it's going to make you recognizable when people are scrolling. I use my perfect example that I have my beauty salon, and I recognize their posts before I even know it's them, and I look forward to seeing what they're posting next. And this is how you'll start to increase your loyalty from your followers, because they'll just stop and they'll recognize that it's you automatically. It's a really good way to increase your following, like I said, and obviously build your brand awareness. But what do you post to do things like that? Well, your posts will obviously all feature on your grid like this here. The last one we looked at had a colour theme. This one, there's still quite a colour theme element there, but you need to think about the type of content as well. It's really important that you have a recognisable visual identity. So, we work in travel, so you want to think about destination shots, hotels, window seat views, travel amenities, and airline pictures, and these are all good content ideas to become thumb stoppers. You've got to stay away from the hard sell on here. It's not really what people are on Instagram for. Now, then, thinking about your text, this is a chance for you to enhance your content further, and there's plenty of different ways that you can use them. You can treat them to be short, snappy, and headline to a post. You can think about a story if you want to put more of a personal post up, and you get people to know a little bit more about the business itself. That's a really good way where you can tell a story. Of course, you can ask people to You can ask people questions so they, start to engage with you and encourage replies. There's so much that you can do with your text, but it's thinking about the differentiating it when you're looking at your posts. But what's really important to ensure is that the text is aligned with your brand and in your brand's tone of voice. Now, as a little tip, the captions will be hidden after 2 lines, so you've got to capture the audience if you're planning to write any more than that. So moving away now from posting on your grid, let's look at stories. Now, Instagram stories are a great way to grow your audience. It's a great way to get messages across to your customers without overloading them on that newsfeed and grid and stuff that doesn't need to be on your grid. About 62% of people say they've become more interested in a brand or a product after seeing it in their stories. And I know I'm definitely a victim to that, but it's a great way to tell a story yourself. You can use 5 or 6 posts in a row it might be around the same sort of thing, but you're going to tell a story within it, or you might showcase a product. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But what can you post on stories, and basically how is best to use it? Well, there's lots of things that you can do. But one thing we wanted to highlight is this section here at the top. So obviously this is how you're going to start being a bit more creative with your stories itself. You got your stickers, you can add your text, and obviously you can change your sort of design and do different things on it here. But what we wanted to look at was the stickers, as this is how you can start to build your engagement. So as you can see on here, there's a few things that you can do. Obviously location, tagging people in, hashtag, GIFs, music, times, polls, questions, countdowns, sliding scale and quiz. But what I would encourage is that you really try and look at first the stuff that you can get your engagement from, and the stuff that's really going to help you and get to know your followers a little bit better. So I'm going to play you a little video now that will show you how to do that. So let's start with a question sticker. So click on the sticker tab at the top and click on questions, and pop in your relevant question that you want to ask your followers to gain engagement. And then place it over where the sticker should go. And next up, we're going to look at a poll. So click poll as an option and pop your question in. And again, you can change the yes or no to different answers there as well. So again, this is quite a good one for finding out a little bit more about your followers. Then next, we're going to look at a quiz. Again, this one, it will have a right answer on here, so don't try and use this as a poll with more options, because it will give them a right answer and you don't ever want to think that somebody's opinion is wrong. So use this as a bit of fun and a good way to get interaction from your followers. And then place it where you want it to go. And then we have our sliding scale. So you could do a lot with this. You can ask a question, or you can leave it blank to react, to get people to react how you want to. You can change the heart eyes emoji to different things as well. But here we're going to show you how you can use it to dictate choices. So you can simply change the emoji, click the plus, and you can search for different emojis that you want it to be. And you can search, like you say, there's lots on here that you can choose from. One that obviously works really well for this is the pointed finger, and then you can literally choose 1, 2, 3, 4. And then lastly, we have the location, which is really good. Pop in your location, check that it's the right location. I don't know if you saw there, it did say Zante, but it's in London, and obviously that doesn't count. It's not going to pull up in the right location. Here we've got Zante, we're in the right location, and then you're going to actually appear in more searches if people are looking for holidays to Zante too with this one. So it's really simple, but it's inspiring your customers. So there's some great ideas there that you can do, but what we would definitely recommend that you do is go on, have a little, explore, trial things out, see how things work for you. We've shown you sort of a handful of stuff that you can do there, but do go on and try to practice it yourself. But as you know, stories don't last forever. They only last 24 hours, but that's why we have highlights. So you can save your stories and highlights to your highlights, for categories, which you can see is what we've highlighted here on the screen. Now, this is a really good way to show different elements to your business and inspire people to look into something that they might have missed. But we really would encourage you to sort of review these often, so you've not got anything expired in there. So there's nothing that you don't want people to see. But make sure you've also got some good highlight covers as well, and they look professional and they match your business's theme. Now, we know you all check your insights hopefully on Facebook, but are you doing the same for your Instagram? It's just as important, but there's also lots of different stuff that you can check on Instagram. Obviously, you're still going to look at your followers, your account reach, the content interactions, whether that's a post, a story, an Instagram TV, your reel, whatever you've posted. But what's really important is that you can also start to see your profile visits, the amount of impressions. You can then also start to see your website taps and the amount of buttons that were clicked on and stuff, so you can see if the profile that you've designed, if it's working or not, and if it's not, start to change it like you would do with anything that you're reviewing in terms of your content too. Now, looking at growing your following, well, what's the best way to do it? Well, it's to do everything I've just told you. Once you've got all that right, you've got all that in place and it's starting to work for you, this is the extra sort of stuff that you can do. Think about, staying true to your goals and your plans, and use everything that I've just said. That alone is going to make you have a successful channel. But what you then want to start doing is thinking about promoting your Instagram on other channels. So doing it, on your Facebook page, on your website, and any forms of marketing that you're putting out. Connect with other local businesses in your area, so you can, if you pop into a local coffee shop in the morning, pop on your business's stories, tag them in. I'm sure they'll start doing the same for you, and you'll start to build a good relationship within the community and become known. Keep your hashtags relevant. We have a hashtag guide in the back of our social media pack, which is available on the Jet2holidays trade website under Boost My Social. Do live videos, start to show your personal element. Try advertising as well. So obviously this is all stuff that you can do organically, but then try and put some money behind things. Encourage users to share your stories and then even tag themselves when they're going on their holidays. Have a strategy and schedule your posts. It's so important, and make sure you are using your insights to review that content. But like we say, we could talk to you for hours about social media. There's so much that you can learn and you can do. One thing we would all encourage you to do now is go away and look on Instagram for Business. They have a website page, and obviously if you have a business account, they can start to look at different things that they can help you doing, and there's free tools. And there's lots available at your fingertips there. And they also have an Instagram account which you can start following. Obviously they'll start to give you some recommendations, but there's so much information here for you, so we would definitely recommend that you start looking at that. But now I'm going to hand you over to Jade, and we're going to now look at Facebook.
Yep, so taking a short look into Facebook, and now if we think about it, myself, Kat, the trade team, friends, family, everybody uses Facebook as a way to connect with each other. But I think what we don't always realise is that we're constantly being advertised to on this platform, and that's because it's not as obvious as what we think it is, and it's not as obvious as other forms of methods of advertising, because social media companies' jobs is to keep you on screen and keep you engaged and keep you scrolling. So to make sure your business is gaining as much potential as possible, you really need to understand the platform so that you can learn how to get potential customers to stop scrolling and to look at your business. So as we've touched on before, these algorithms, everyone's been asking us about them since we did our Boost My Social training, and we've spoke to our social media team a lot about this, and the fact is that they've changed a lot over time. So we're going to give you what we know right now. So the algorithms, the way that they work is they decide which posts people see every time that they check the news feed and what order that the posts show up in. So it's built to predict which post is most valuable and meaningful to an individual. So instead of showing every single Facebook post in a chronological order, the algorithm evaluates the post, it scores it, and then arranges it in interest for each individual user. So to gain a more organic reach, the algorithm will score your post better if the content is what people want to engage with. So as I'm sure you can imagine, there are a lot of pages out there that people follow. I know I follow a lot. And it's really important that your content cuts through the clutter and doesn't become the clutter. And although there's no clear or correct answer to the Facebook algorithm, Facebook have outlined some key factors to give you an insight into how the posts are scored. So Facebook ranks content, number one, based on relationships. So is that post from a person, a business, a news source, or a public figure that the user engages with often? Has the user messaged them before? Have they been tagged before? Have they engaged with them, or do they already follow them? Then the content type. So what kind of media is in that post, and which type of media does the user interact with the most? So for me, I think it would probably be videos. So does the user look at videos most? Do they like still photos and images, or are they more interested in links? Popularity. So how are people already currently reacting to that post, especially if it's users' friends? So if the trade team all love and jump onto a post, the chances are I'm going to see it. And if they're sharing in it, commenting it, but if they're ignoring it, the chances are I won't see it. Recency. How new is the post? The newer the post, the higher it's placed in the news feed. So all of these 4 topics being considered, every time you make a post, this is what Facebook's thinking about. So if you're posting willy-nilly or posting just way too much content, it's just not going to make the cut. And that's why it's important to plan. So you have chance then to think about how that post is going to perform. So now looking at Facebook pages, so your actual page, your profile picture is one of the first things that Facebook users will notice about your business on social media. Now, if you have a think about it, how many thousands of social media profiles have we all seen when we're scrolling through day to day, just thousands of images. But every time somebody sees a profile picture, and whether you mean to or not, you form an impression, you make a judgment in a split second, you decide whether that profile picture is likable, trustworthy or not. So making your business profile picture perfect, although it's a one-time action, it'll have a big impact. So it's important to keep in mind as well that Facebook will actually crop it into a circle. So you can see on the Aldi example here, so make sure you leave enough space so that you're happy with the way that it looks once it's been cropped into that circle. Then touching on the About section, the About section actually shows up in the search results under your brand name. As you can see there with Aldi, your About section can really impact the way that you show up in the search results when somebody searches holidays, travel, whatever it might be. And that'll give you the chance to rank well in Facebook's organic search engine. So you need to make sure that what you're saying in this About section is really related to your business. So all social media bio sections are important, and Kat touched on them earlier with Instagram, but I think we could all agree that Facebook would probably take the top spot when it comes to the bio, simply because there's plenty of room within that section to share really valuable information. So it's really important that you make it count. Facebook is often a first place that a customer will go to get information about a business. And I know that's something that I do all the time. So having all of this information filled out is really important. The About section needs to answer your followers' main questions, which in the long run is going to save you time and energy as well. If your page doesn't have the relevant and helpful information that a user's looking for, there's a good chance that they're going to simply leave the page. So make sure you're checking in on this every month or so, so that it always is reflecting your business in the best way that it can. Next up, we just wanted to touch on handles because we got asked a few questions about this. So a social media handle, what is it? It's a username, pretty much is the best way to describe it. It's got the @ symbol at the start, just like the one you can see we've circled on screen there. Now, social media handles are a really important step of online marketing because it helps people to find you more easily, and it also makes your page look more professional. So have a look. If you haven't got one set up on Facebook, you can easily set it up. Choose something short, sweet, that's relevant to your business and it's easy to remember. And if you've got an Instagram page too, it's good to make them consistent so that they match each other or they're somewhere near you. And it's great as well when you're doing any other forms of marketing, because then you can add your Facebook handle on. It's another touch point to get your customer in contact with you. So thinking about content, as we've said before, it's great to have a really good mix of content. So like we've said as well, planning ahead is one of the key things to do when it comes to social media. And a good place to start with trying to get some ideas and inspiration for your own content is by having a look at what other businesses are doing and see what's helping them gain interaction. So we've picked out just a few examples on screen. As you can see, there's a mix of content across these brands, and what they're doing is they're using different topics and interests to their advantage. So if we take Pretty Little Thing first, which is a clothing brand, what they're posting there is absolutely gorgeous image of Santorini, absolutely nothing to do with their branding. But what they do know is that their customers will love that, and they absolutely have, because they've got a ridiculous amount of likes, comments and shares on it. So thinking about using the algorithm to their advantage. Next, we've got Boots. So they've gone with an interactive post. So the purpose of that post is getting customers to comment below, so that the next time they post, the chances are that customers are going to see it again. We've got Cafe Mambo, and they've gone with a humanized image, which is really eye-catching, but also a quote, and people love a good quote on Facebook. So again, trying to encourage people to like the post so that they'll see Cafe Mambo more. We've got Currys and PC World there, showing brand partnership with a really well-known, recognisable brand. So something that people want to look at and engage with. Aldi, we've got a price there. So beautiful post, because what they're doing is they're showing the product. It's a short video, but they're not showing everything about it, not giving them all the ins and outs, the sizes and everything to do with that product. What they're doing is engaging with the customer with a short video and a nice short caption as to when and how they can buy it. And then last but not least, we've got In The Style, which again is a clothing brand. And what they've done is they've grabbed some user-generated content. So this is where a customer has gone on Twitter, posted a tweet about holidays, which is obviously something that everyone loves to talk about. And it's gained them further interaction on their page. So the Facebook algorithms, what they do is they have a lot of information. They know when you stop to look at something, whether you engage with it or not, whether you like it, comment, share it, they know that you've stopped and looked at it and how long for, believe it or not. But they also know when you've commented on it, when you've liked it, and what they do with that information is they build it into your personal algorithm. And what these brands are all doing is playing that to their advantage. So just to quickly touch back on stories, because Facebook does also have its own section for stories. It's very similar to the way that Kat described. Content which is shared to stories appears at the top of Facebook's newsfeed, as you can see on screen. And one great tip for this is when you're using Business Suite, you can actually connect your Instagram and Facebook account together, and you can share the same story to both platforms. Now, one thing with stories is that they're not as impacted by the algorithm. So your content has more chance of being seen. So you can post a little bit more on your stories than what you would maybe on your news feed, because it doesn't come across as spammy. Looking at text, we know that visual components are really important, but the text is just as important that goes with it, and it should tie in with your visual so that they complement each other. So it's no good having an image and the words just not relating to it. So this is an example. If you were to pop on an interactive, engaging post, the main aim there is for you to get further reach, encouraging an action from the user. So whether you want them to like it, you want them to comment and share it. But by having a text that isn't related to the image, it's confusing for the followers. It's not encouraging them to take a further action, and it's made the text irrelevant to the image itself. Now, if you head on over to Facebook for Business, which will show you how you can access that in a second, there's a lot of research that's gone on behind the scenes, looking at the way that posts perform based on the way that they look. And Facebook would recommend that you keep text short, clear, and concise in order to get your message across effectively. And remember, as we've mentioned before, the optimum amount of characters is actually 80. So the best thing to do here is decide on one thing that you want people to know and say that. Other things to think about when you're using your text is include a time frame. Use words like today, now, or this week, because that creates a sense of urgency. Use a call to action, so call us now or comment below, but don't be asking the customers to do too much, because as we've seen on the previous slide, you need to focus their attention on exactly what you want them to do. And then last one, on the internet, using uppercase letters is shorthand for shouting. So businesses tend to avoid capital letters because it can come across in not quite the way that you want your customer to read it. So do have a think about when you're typing up them posts, how it's going to be perceived by your customer. And then we have interact and reply. So using your Facebook page to the full extent that you can. It's really important that you prioritise building a connection with each individual person that engages with your page. Like we said, the algorithm prioritises posts from pages where users have interacted with that page. Your audience's time is incredibly valuable, and taking the time to respond to them shows that you care. If a person has taken time out of their day to talk to your brand, don't waste that opportunity. Make them feel heard, make them smile, or inspire them to tell their friends. It's a really good opportunity. And brands should always be willing to talk back to the followers. You can see many examples of this on lots of platforms with brands that you'll see on Facebook. And then touching back on insights, we know a lot of you do check in on your insights simply because it's one of the biggest factors to trying to make sure that your platform is successful. It's all about experimenting and learning from the stats that you've got. So make sure you do keep track and you're making note of what has worked and what hasn't. What we would recommend is that you do set a date aside, and the same way that you review your sales in that week, set some time aside to have a look at these insights so that you can really progress your platforms. And then the same as Instagram, Facebook does have its own website for business. Absolutely brilliant website, loads of hints and tips on there. And they also have a Facebook page that you can like, and they share lots of amazing information. Both Instagram and Facebook do have specific things for travel as well. So like Kat said earlier, me and Kat could probably talk about social media all day long, but I'm sure you don't want to hear us blabbing on all the time. So go and have a little bit of research yourself and see what's out there for free that you can use to really boost your social.
So to sort of round that up, we just want to remind you about sort of consistency and planning. It's a really important element to both your Facebook and your Instagram pages. You've got to have a plan and a strategy in place, and you use a social media planner that we've provided with you on the trade website to access. So, by having a consistent platform, your users, your followers are going to know when to expect new content from you, and they're going to expect it as well. And they're also going to, like Jade said, you're going to appear more if they're starting to interact with you more regularly. Give it the priority that it needs. It should be just as important as anything else that you're doing.
And then touching on branding, we want you to continue to ask yourself these key questions. So what are your key selling points, and do your users know about these? How does social media compare to other businesses within your area? Do you think yours could be as strong as other local businesses? What makes you different to anybody else, and are you shouting about that? Does your social media reflect your brand, and is it being perceived in the way that you want it to be? Are you personable in the way you interact? Do you get back to people and message them, interact with them? And are you well known in the community? Is there an opportunity like a Facebook page in the area that you can connect with or share your content on so more people find you? And do you promote partnership with favoured brands? People recognise branding and it's a good way for you to actually enhance your brand by showing your partnership as well.
So we just kind of wanted to recap, really. Social media is a process. And, if you head on to the Boost My Social part of the trade website, this is all there available for you to access. You need to remember to set your goals that you want to achieve, check your insights, understand that you're a brand, and think about those questions Jade just said. Plan your social media, optimize your profiles, create engaging and inspiring content, and make sure you are reviewing that process. And all these things will help you in turn to have a successful social media platform.
Absolutely. And when it comes to content, we do have the Jet2holidays media library, which you can access via your phone. You can access it on your computer. If it's on your phone, I'd recommend that you download the Flickr app. If you need any help with that, just get in touch with your sales executive. There's so much content on there, content for videos. We've got stills, we've got interactive stuff, branded things, all sorts. So do check it out. One thing just to think about is when we put the content on here is we make it perfect for Facebook, Instagram, whether it's a news feed or a story. So please don't screenshot, because that'll make it blurry and it won't look as good a quality. There's actually a how-to guide on the media library. So if you are struggling, just have a little look on there, or again, get in touch with us and we can be more than happy to help.
So like Jade said, we do make the content to the perfect sizes, and we see a lot of this where the wrong sized image is being used on the wrong placement. And as you can see here, the obvious thing between a stories and a newsfeed is the size. It's the square ones for your newsfeed, whether that's Facebook or Instagram, and it's the long ones for your stories. It's really important that you're getting that on there, so it makes it look professional, and obviously it's making your brand look really good as well. So please keep an eye on that when you are choosing things from the media library too.
So last but by no means least, we have a competition running, and we launched this on the 1st of April. And this week there's still time to enter. And we have a top prize of £200 social media marketing spend. But we also have 2 runners up that can win £100 as well. So what we'd recommend that you do is step 1, check out Boost My Social on the Trade website. Take away from what you've learned on this session today as well. Step 2, go on to the Jet2holidays media library to find all of that content. Pick what you like, what's going to work for this bank holiday weekend as well. Post on your Instagram or Facebook page, and then all you need to do is let us know that you've done that. So there's a link on the Partners to Success Facebook page, and if you can't find it on there, contact your sales executive, we can send you it. And if you just enter and let us know that you've made that post, and then you'll be in a chance to win.